Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Haridev Krishna Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 5, chapter number 16, chapter number 6, sloka number 16. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, over to you Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. We seek your blessings before we begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Seek the blessings of all the devotees. And today we'll be reading and discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 6th chapter, 16th shloka. So this shloka is the falastuti of hearing the glories and glorious activities and instructions of Lord Rishabhadeva. So we shall recite it. Itihasma Sakalaveda Brahmanagavam Paramaguror Bhagavata Rishabhakya Akyasya Vishuddharchitam Irtam Pumsam Samasta Duscharita Abhiharanam Paramamaha Mangalayanam Idam Shraddayo Pachitayanushnoti Ashravyati Vavahito Bhagavati Tasmin Vasudevo Ekanto Bhaktir Anayor Api Samanuvar Vartate. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Iti. Thus. Hasma. Indeed. Sakala. All. Veda. Of knowledge. Loka. Of people in general. Deva. Of the demigods. Brahmana. Of the Brahmanas. Gavam. Of the cows. Parama. The supreme. Guroho. Master. Bhagavataha. Of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rishabha Akyasya. Rishabha Akyasya, whose name was Lord Rishabhadeva. Vishuddha, pure. Acharitam, activities. Iritam, now explained. Pumsam, of every living entity. Samasta, all. Duscharita, sinful activities. Abhiharanam, destroying. Parama, foremost. Maha, great. Mangala, of all auspiciousness. Anyam, the shelter. Idam, this. Anushraddaya, with faith. Upachitaya, increasing. Anushranoti, hears from authority. Ashravayati, speaks to others. Va, or avahitaha, being attentive. Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tasmin, unto Vasudeva, to Lord Vasudeva, Lord Krishna. Eka antaha, unflinching. Bhaktihi, devotion. Anyoho, of both the group's listeners and speakers. Api, certainly. Samanuvarte, factually begins. Translation. Shukadev Goswami continued, Lord Rishabhadeva is the master of all Vedic knowledge, human beings, demigods, cows, and brahmanas. I have already explained his pure transcendental activities. which will vanquish the sinful activities of all living entities. The narration of Lord Rishabhadeva's pastimes is the reservoir of all auspicious things. Whoever attentively hears or speaks them, following in the footsteps of Acharyas, will certainly attain unalloyed devotional service at the lotus feet of Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The teachings of Lord Rishabhadeva are for the people of all yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and especially Kali Yuga. These instructions are so powerful that even in this age of Kali, one can attain perfection simply by explaining the instructions, following in the footsteps of Acharyas, or listening to the instructions with great attention. If one does so, one can attain the platform of pure devotional service to Lord Vasudeva. The pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees are recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam so that those who recite these pastimes and listen to them will become purified. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. As a matter of principle, devotees should read, speak, and hear Srimad Bhagavatam persistently, 24 hours daily if possible. That is the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kirtaniya Sadaharihi. One should either chant the Hare Krishna mantra or read Srimad Bhagavatam and thereby try to understand the characteristics and the instructions of the Supreme Lord, who appeared as Lord Rishabhadeva, Lord Kapila, Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna. In this way, one can become fully aware of the transcendental nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, one who knows the transcendental nature of Lord's birth and activities attains liberation from material bondage and returns to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauravatrishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here in this shloka, this fifth canto, sixth chapter, 16th shloka, we have the Phalastuti. And here three main words. I again seek the blessings of all the devotees. I heard from His Grace Radhesham Prabhu on the same verse. I shall share something from that and also something from this Bhagavatam Subodhini guide also. So here, what are the three important words which describe the Phalastuti? The first one is Samasta Duscharita Abhiharanam. So the first benefit of hearing the instructions of the Lord as well as hearing the pastimes of Lord is all the sinful activities are destroyed. Why? Because Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam. Lord says that one who hears Swakata, the auspicious talks, Swakata, who Krishna, Lord Krishna or his incarnations, that Shravan is not like any other hearing. It is Punya Shravana. It is most pious. Why is it pious? Because simply by hearing Hridayantastohi Abhadrani, Abhadrani, all that which is inauspicious, or Prabhupada would sometimes say anartha, that which is not required. Anartha means, Prabhupada defined anartha means that which is not. And Prabhupada would many times give example like cigarette. A cigarette is certainly not required. So for one to live in this world. So that is anartha. Similarly, all these lust, greed, anger, all of them, they're actually not required to make the living entity happy. Srila Rupa Goswami also says in one of his compositions, a shloka, where he says that I am faithfully serving these six masters. Who are they? These anarthas, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Moha. And what is the nature of these six masters? How much ever I serve them, they are never going to be satisfied. So many a times devotees also, we complain about our company boss. Oh, how much ever we do, still the boss has high expectation. Or we complain about our spouse or our in-laws or about our other fellow devotee circle, that I have done so much, still this person is never understanding how much I have done. He has never understood my sacrifice, everything like that. But Rupa Goswami is saying that these people outside, they at least sometimes acknowledge, but the masters, these anarthas, six anarthas, how much ever you serve them, they are never satisfied. And that master we are happily serving, and we are never getting frustrated. We are getting frustrated with other masters of this world. But more tougher master is our own six anarthas, which never get satisfied. And we are faithfully serving. Who can be more foolish? So we have to pray to the Lord that this anarthas are removed. So Hridayantasto hi Abhadrani. So how these anarthas can be removed? Krishna says, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. When we take interest, eagerness in hearing attentively, then Lord says, being situated in the heart as Paramatma, he takes a broom and sweeps off all the impurities of the heart. Hridayantasto hi Abhadrani. Vidunoti. Vidunoti means cleans or makes it a bright place. Vidunoti, Suhrit. Why Lord does that? Because he is Suhrit. He is a most well-wishing friend of all living entities. So by hearing Lord's pastimes, the Lord takes special interest, and then he starts cleaning our heart, and then eventually all the unnecessary things in the heart will go away. That is the first benefit. Samasta duscharita abhiharanam. It destroys all the sinful activities like that. So one more japa talk I was hearing. First, when we hear from an right authority about Lord, his wonderful qualities, his wonderful. Firstly, we should start with hearing the holy name, and then Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, like that. So, easiest to never misunderstand about Lord is Nama, just by chanting God's names. Then Rupa, because we are embodied and we have a bodily conception, and we desire to see beautiful objects. By hearing the descriptions of the beauty of the Lord, eventually one will lose taste for the beauty of this world. Nama, Rupa, Guna, qualities. So in this world, somebody may be having beautiful form, they may be Rupavati, but generally they may not be Gunavati. They may not have all good qualities. But who is Lord Krishna? Lord Krishna is Samasta Guna Dana Dama. In that Vibhavari Shesha Bhajan, it is said. Lord is the abode of all gunas, all good qualities. So, by hearing about the qualities of Lord, one gets touched by the Lord. So, first we hear the holy name, then we hear the description of Lord's form, how beautiful He is, and then eventually about the qualities of Lord. And when all the envy in the heart is completely removed, understanding Lord's wonderful qualities, when our heart is touched, then when we hear the Leela of the Lord, we will not misunderstand, we will not doubt them, we will not see it with envy. Rather, we will be able to understand it rightly. So, first we hear from authorities, and by hearing from the authority, a desire arises to see the Lord. So then devotee thinks, oh, Lord is so nice, I also want to see Him. But then we realize that we cannot see the Lord just like that. Why? Because Atak Krishna Namadi Na Bhavet Grahyam Indriyaha. Lord Krishna is transcendental. So his name, form, all of them, we cannot perceive through our senses. Then how to perceive Krishna? How to see Krishna? It is said, Sevon Mukehi Jihvado Swayam Eva Spurutyadaha. One cannot demand, Lord, I want to see you. Please give me your darshan. No. By rendering submissively service to Krishna, Krishna, if he desires, he will reveal himself to us like that. So, first we hear from authorities, we get a desire to see Lord, and then we understand Lord is not such a cheap thing that simply if I have desire, he will come at my beck and call. Then we endeavor to please the Lord through service. And when the Lord is captivated by our service, then he agrees to enter our heart. So, what is the proof that Lord is pleased with us? He will enter our heart. That means when we hear the holy name, we are able to and take the holy name to the heart. Generally, our mind is wandering all over the universe. Why? Because we have not sufficiently pleased the Lord through service. So the anarthas are also not clean, and therefore the Lord has not entered our heart. Therefore, our heart is not feeling any transformation, even though we are constantly chanting. As said in the Srimad Bhagavatam second canto, one who does not cry while chanting the holy names of Lord, his heart is said to be steel framed. Why is it steel framed? Because now our heart has become hard due to anarthas, due to offenses, and we are not ready to get touched by the Lord's wonderful holy name qualities, etc. So, when we do service in such a way that with an intent to please Lord and his devotees, then Lord eventually agrees to enter in the heart. And then when the Lord enters, he sees, just like in Dhruva Maharaj's case, the Lord entered even in Narada Muni when he was meditating. Lord entered the heart, and then he was meditating, and then the same Lord appeared in front of him when he opened his eyes. And after that, he sees how much hankering we have developed. So, when our hankering is sufficient, then the Lord agrees to continuously stay within our heart. So, here we get the other benefit of hearing, that eventually it is only through the hearing process that one can constantly keep the Lord within his heart. So that is the first Falastuti. Yeah. And the second one, Parama Mangala Ayanam. He gets the greatest auspiciousness. Parama Mangala. And how is it auspicious? Prabhupada quotes the story of one thief who was hearing the descriptions of the ornaments of Lord Krishna, what he wears. So hearing from the devotee on the description of Lord Krishna, what ornaments he wears, he had a desire to steal Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna's ornaments. So he was actually preparing to commit greater and greater offenses and sins. But instead of committing sinful activities, he inquired from the Bhagavatam speaker, where can I find this bluish boy whom you are describing? And he says it, you should go to Vrindavan. So he goes searching for Krishna in Vrindavan. And once he sees Krishna face to face, instead of falling down into sinful life, what happens? It becomes all auspicious. He becomes a great devotee of Lord. So this is the glory of hearing. Same with many great devotees. By hearing about Lord, it became all auspicious, or instructions. One instruction from the Chintamani prostitute was enough for Bilva Mangal Thakur. His whole life became auspicious. He was attached to the prostitute and he had great attraction for prostitute. Simply by hearing from Chintamani that the same attraction that you have for me, if you had an iota of that for the Supreme Lord, you could have become a great devotee. That one instruction from the spiritual master. We know that it was the spiritual master who was speaking through Chintamani. It became all auspicious like that. So, and Ayanam, the shelter, and for whom Lord Krishna is the shelter? For one who hears with Anushraddhaya, with faith, and one who hears from the authority. So both are important. We should hear with faith and we should hear from the right authority. And what is this hearing with faith? We know that story of the Brahmana and the cobbler story. That the Brahmana was worshipping the Lord daily in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and the cobbler was also a great devotee. When Narada Muni appeared before both of them put the same request. When you meet Lord in Vaikuntha, please ask Lord that when will I come back to Vaikuntha? So Narada Muni asks Lord, and Lord says, cobbler will come back in this very lifetime to Vaikuntha. And then the Brahmana will take another 100 lifetimes, Lord said. So Narada was little surprised why Lord is saying like this. But Lord Narada understood there should be some reason. So then the Lord, before Narada left, told, both of them will surely ask, what was I doing at Vaikuntha? So you tell both of them that I was trying to put a big elephant into the eye of a needle. And then when Narada meets both of them, he communicates to both whatever the Lord said. The Brahmana was very, very disturbed because he said, I worship Lord with so much devotion daily. How can Lord say this? I don't think Lord would have said this. I don't even think you have gone and met the Lord. If you have gone and met the Lord, can you tell me what Lord was doing in Vaikuntha? So then Narada tells he was trying to put an elephant into the eye of a needle. At that time, the Brahmana laughed. Alas, how can the Lord, being so intelligent, do such a foolish activity? He'll never do such things, which is impossible. So that means you are simply bluffing. You have not even gone to Vaikuntha. Like that he said. Then when Narada says the same thing to the cobbler is very grateful that the Lord has accepted him in this very lifetime. And when he tells that Lord was putting an elephant into the eye of a needle, the cobbler says, my Lord is so great. He can do anything that is possible. Nothing is impossible for him. So then Narada asks, are you really serious in what you are telling? Don't you think you are very sentimentally believing that Lord can do anything like that? Then the cobbler said, no. If the Lord can put a huge banyan tree in a small banyan seed, and then the big tree can come out, that is the Shakti of the Lord. So Lord is so powerful, he can do anything that we can't even conceive of. So I'm sure that Lord will have a wonderful way to put an elephant into the eye of needle also. So this is faith, that Lord can do things which me and you can do, which none of us can do and which none of us can even conceive of. Kartum, akartum, sarvata kartum, like that it is said. Lord can undo something. Like in this world, if somebody dies, nobody can be brought back to life. But Lord can even bring back the dead children, like what he did with the 6 sons of Devaki, like that. So this is hearing with faith, and also hearing that with faith means when we hear anything, we understand that Lord is free from any faults. Even the pure devotee, apparently it may become little sometimes difficult to understand certain actions of the Lord or his pure devotees, but the faith means that there cannot be anything wrong in what the Lord has done. Not that we doubt that way. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur classifies several groups of atheistic people. One is the hardcore materialist. One more is a mundane moralist. That means their faith in morality is supreme, more than the faith in Supreme Lord. Like some great political leaders also. I think even Gandhiji once said, I can only accept Lord Ram as supreme, but I cannot accept Krishna as supreme, because morally, right from childhood, he was into stealing butter. Then he married so many people. So it just doesn't fit in my morality box. So Lord is not to be considered supreme that way. So this is a lack of complete faith in the Supreme Lord. Even when we sometimes hear some pastimes which are beyond our capacity, then we also start doubting the Lord. That means we should understand that my faith in the Supreme Lord is still lacking. When we hear sometimes the descriptions of the Lord with the gopis, it may appear, because we have so much of lust within our heart, there may be a feeling, oh, is Lord also lusty like me? No. Lord shows that Prabhupada used to give this example. A confectioner, sweet confectioner, is never attracted by sweets because he has so many sweets in his in a shop that he doesn't have a hankering to eat those sweets. Same way, when Naranarayan Rishi were doing tapasya in Badrikashram, at that time, Indra wanted to distract the Lord, and he sent some beautiful apsaras. But the Lord smiled. He said, why shall I be attracted to any beauty? Because I am the reservoir of all beauty. All these beauties are coming from me only. And then from Lord's thighs came out many, many apsaras. And one such apsara who came out was Urvashi. So then, seeing Urvashi more beautiful than all these apsaras, they all became ashamed. And they went and told Indra. And Indra also came to beg forgiveness. Lord said, never mind. You take this Urvashi and enjoy. I am not interested. Don't disturb me in my penance, like that. So the Lord is never attracted by any of these. So when we hear some pastimes, we start doubting the Lord, his character, his qualities. So then that will not help us. So we should hear with Anushraddhaya, faith, and hear from the authority. And authority means they know when to speak what. They don't directly jump into the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I remember one lecture of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada was speaking heavily against those who directly jump into the Ras Leela. And Prabhupada was quoting a very practical example for all of us to understand. Prabhupada was saying, let us say you're meeting somebody for the first time. You will ask him about his general details. Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do? What is your business, etc. Let us say somebody is coming to our temple also. We speak general things, but we don't directly ask, can I know the name of your wife? What is the nickname with which you call your wife? Can you speak something about your romantic relationship with wife? Then that person will think, what audacity he has to speak about my personal life. I don't even know this person. Why is he wanting to peek into my personal life? Same way, Prabhupada is saying, we don't even know ABC of Krishna, and directly we want to go and inquire about the personal life of Krishna. Krishna, tell me, what do you do with Radharani? What do you do with all gopis? What romantic things do you enjoy? So Krishna also says, what audacity do you have to directly jump into my private life without even first understanding and establishing a relation with me? Eventually, when they become friends, very thick friends, sometimes they may speak also that, oh, today at home we had an argument like this. We had a nice time like this, that way. So otherwise, when there is envy, when there is this one, why will somebody want to share his personal details like that? So Prabhupada was very heavy against the uh, Bhagavatam, those who professional reciters who either speak Bhagavatam for money making or who directly just want to get some material enjoyment and get followers also to gain some Aaj ke Anand ki jai, like that, directly jumping into some romantic affairs, etc. So if one hears attentively with faith and from the right authority, then finally, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he attains unflinching devotion to Vasudeva. It actually begins to appear like that. So, this is the Falastuti here. And in the purport, Prabhupada is talking about how uh, Lord Rishabhadeva, his teachings are for all people, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, like that. So one of the blessings that Lord Krishna got from Sandipani Muni after going and struggling to get the firewood for pleasing the spiritual master is that whatever you hear from the scriptures, may everything of that be fresh in your memory. And we can also see this is the nature of the Lord's instructions, that not just that Lord's memory is fresh, but whatever he speaks, his instructions are also always fresh, and it is applicable for all ages at all times to come. Like Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago, but it is still relevant for all people in this current Kali Yuga. Same with the teachings of Rishabhadeva. So that is the uh, omnipotence of the Lord, that his instructions are powerful, and one can attain perfection simply by explaining these instructions, following in the footsteps of acharyas, or simply listening also with attention, with great attention. And eventually it will give rise to pure devotional service. And then Prabhupada is mentioning why so many pastimes the Lord performs, so that people will have enough things to recite and speak about and listen about, because there is a natural tendency for people to read, hear, instead of reading, hearing, gossip, news, sports, politics, etc. One can hear and listen to the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And how should one hear? One should hear Nityam Bhagavata daily. And Prabhupada is saying as a matter of principle. Principle means what? Prabhupada is saying that for sadhana bhaktas, Vaidhi sadhana bhaktas, we do it as a matter of duty. Whether I have taste or not, devotees should read, speak, and hear Srimad Bhagavatam persistently. At least Nityam means actually 24 hours a day, but at least on a day-to-day basis, we should try to read and hear regularly. Prabhupada is mentioning here. Why? Because this material world is characterized by forgetfulness. It is the nature of the human conditioned mind to forget all the good instructions very soon. So, how to, we know that why are we suffering? We are suffering because of sinful activities. And why are we committing sinful activities? Because of avidya or ignorance. And why are we ignorant? Because even though we are hearing today, there is a tendency to forget very soon. Therefore, we constantly keep ourselves hearing again and again, so that our forgetfulness is gone. Sometimes people ask why Prabhupada has written the same things again and again. So then one senior Vaishnava was telling, Prabhupada has written so many times and still we are not following anything. So imagine Prabhupada had written only once. Where is the scope for us to follow? Because many a times we don't even read the same thing again and again. Once done, it is over for the day, like that. So therefore, one should read and hear on a daily basis and uh, try to understand the characteristics and instructions of the Supreme Lord, like that. So Prabhupada in teachings of Queen Kunti, in that one, there was one shloka where Prabhupada was mentioning, I think I think it is Maya Javanikachannam Agnya Adokshajam Avyayam Na Lakshase Mudadrisha Nato Natyo Daroyataha. So in that shloka, Prabhupada is elaborating in the lecture that why one should hear from authorities, because it is very difficult to understand Krishna. Why? Because first of all, we are covered by a curtain called Maya, Yoga Maya, Samavrita. Even pure devotees are under Yoga Maya. We are under Mahamaya. So Lord covers us with Maya Shakti. We cannot understand him. That is first difficulty. Second is, even if that curtain is removed, Lord is Adokshaja. Adokshaja means beyond the perception of senses. So even if curtain is removed of Mahamaya, still because Lord is beyond senses, he has to reveal himself. And how does he reveal? Lord has said, I reveal through hearing first, like that. So therefore, we start hearing the characteristics of Lord, and then eventually we understand the transcendental nature. We hear also in the Bhagavad Gita, one who knows the transcendental nature of Lord's form, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, his birth, activities, and his leaving the world pastimes also. For such a person, there is no repetition of birth and death. And here, I'd like to say a little on Rishabhadeva. Lord's leaving the world is very mysterious, and sometimes activities also. So one may ask why Rishabhadev was, he took to this Avadut Vesh. He had all good children. He could have stayed in their kingdom only and worn clothes and behaved like this. So why Lord does is very difficult. Certain actions is very difficult for us to always understand. But here Lord is called all attractive. Krishna means all attractive. He wants to attract all classes of men. Even Shukadev Goswami, you will see, although he was such a self-realized person, he was roaming without any clothes. And then when he sat in the Bhagavatam thing, so you will see that Parikshit Maharaj sometimes asks some questions to Shukadev Goswami. Why? Because in that audience, there are some impersonalists, some yogis. So for them to understand and digest Lord's personality itself is difficult. And when they hear something about Lord's pastimes, they become more envious, they become more doubtful. So Parikshit asks sometimes some questions, or Shukadev Goswami himself narrates some or explains some philosophy so that their misunderstanding is removed. Same way, the Lord wants to attract all classes of people. And how does he attract? Through one of these six opulences. Some people are attracted to wealth, some people are attracted to beauty. And here, Lord wanted to attract people who are very much fond of renunciation. So Lord wants to show that, attract that class of men also. And therefore, he appeared supremely renounced like this. And he took this Avadut Vesh. And it's very difficult sometimes why Lord entered the forest fire. If his body is spiritual, how can it be burnt in the forest fire? So Lord's leaving the world also sometimes very difficult. Even a pure devotee is leaving the world, very difficult to understand. Andal merged into the deity of Ranganath. and Lord Chaitanya entered into the deity of Tota Gopinath. Same way, Bankerai, Nityananda, Lord Nityananda entered the deity of Bankera. Even Narottam Das Thakur, the way he left the world, initially it appeared that he died. All the Brahmanas were very happy. They were thinking, good, he died. He was trying to initiate Brahmanas only, although he was a low-born Shudra, like that, a low-born person. But then Narottam Das Thakur arose from thing and he said, I'm not yet dead. And then finally, when he wanted to end this fastings, he left the world in such a way that he just entered into the river Padma, where Lord Chaitanya had given him the love of Godhead. And in that he entered and he just became in liquid kind, into kind whitish liquid kind, and then he just left the planet, it seems. So it is very difficult. Even Lord Ram just entered Sarayu River, and that's it. So we do not. It's very difficult for us to understand why does Lord sometimes mysteriously end his Leela. One is to also bewilder the atheistic people and to make them convinced that yes, Lord is an ordinary person, like that. So in the purports we saw that when Lord entered the forest fire, Lord doesn't have a material body. It is a spiritual body. It is not burnt by the forest fire. Because the Bhagavad Gita says spirit soul is never moistened by water nor burnt by fire. So Lord never got burnt. Rather, he delivered all the other animals who also got burned in the forest fire, like that. But little difficult for us to understand. So such times, whichever is not within our mental uh, uh, scope, we understand that Lord cannot be understood completely, and we have faith that the Bhagavatam says that it was just Lord's desire to end his this one. Why? Because the Lord wanted to show. Now in the past time, he's enacting as a Avaduta. And why does Avaduta not wear any dress? Because Avaduta means they have such a high level of conception that they feel already this material body is a dress. I'm already wearing this dress. On top of this dress, why to wear some other dress like that? So, but we are certainly not in that consciousness. Therefore, we don't imitate. Rather, we take the instructions of Lord Rishabhadeva. So, for us, whenever I was hearing this from Radhesham Prabhu, whenever there is a mismatch between the instructions and the activities of the Supreme Lord, or sometimes his pure devotees, we only take the instructions and we don't imitate the activities of the person. So I thought quickly before we wind up, we can just once recollect all the instructions of Rishabhadeva. Because here in the purport also, Prabhupada is speaking about explaining the instructions. So one can try to understand the characteristics and instructions of Supreme Lord, and by doing that, one will eventually attain liberation from material bondage and return back to Godhead. So I'm just opening the Bhagavatam Subodhini also, so that it becomes easy to recollect the instructions. So, fifth chapter, Rishabhadev is speaking how much he's
Another 10 minutes.
20 shlokas, I think he's speaking on this instructions. The first three shlokas speaking about the importance of human life. My dear boys, all living entities who have accepted material bodies and have been awarded human life should not work hard day and night for sense gratification. and one should engage in tapodivyam putrakayena sattvam. And by doing that, one can shuddhe tasmat brahma saukyam tu anantam. So that is the first one. And second shloka saying one can attain the path of liberation from material bondage. How? By rendering service to highly advanced personalities. Because we heard today that hearing is the first step, but how to get that eagerness to hear? By rendering service to highly advanced people. शुश्रूषो श्रद्धादानस्य वासुदेवे कथारुचि स्यान् महत्सेवया विप्र पुण्यतीर्थ निषेवनात्. And these personalities are of two categories: impersonalist, devotee. Whether one wants to merge into Lord's existence or associate with personality, one should render service to Mahatmas. And then it is said one should not associate with Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. One should not associate with women or people who are fond of women. I mean, people who are fond of women or sex life, because then the path to hell is open for them, like that. And then third, it is said the nature of a devotee in Krishna consciousness, he does not like to do anything that is not related to Krishna. Neither is he interested in mingling with people who are always only busily working and talking about how to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. And he is not attached to homes, although he is a householder, nor is he attached to wife, children, etc. That means he is dutiful, responsible, affectionate, but not attached. He is not interested in, he is interested in collecting money only to maintain body and soul together. Like that. So that is the first three shlokas. And the fourth, 5, 6, that is on how to end the transmigration of birth and death. So when one considers sense gratification, his aim of life, nunam pramattam kurute vikarmaha indriya priti apnoti. So he becomes maddened by sense gratification, and then he commits many sinful activities. And just like a young tree gives birth to lot of seeds, he also gets lot of sinful reactions, and then he gets material body one after another. And as long as he does not inquire about spiritual values, he is subjected to miseries that arise either from good karma or bad karma, that is fruitive activity. And as long as his mind is impure and consciousness is unclear, he is forced to absorbed in fruitive activity, he is forced to accept a material body. And when he is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being. And again, his mind being subjugated by fruitive activity, until he has love for Lord Vasudeva, he is certainly not delivered, like that. And then 7th to 9th is talking about how to cut through illusion. How even though one may be learned and wise, he is mad if he does not understand that sense gratification is useless waste of time. Now, being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in material world, centering his interest around home, sex, etc. Like that. So he behaves like a foolish animal, and the attraction between the male and female is the basis of material existence. And from male, female, eventually home, children, property, wealth, etc. So he creates lot of illusion, and the strong knot which is due to the results of the past action, once it becomes loose, how by bhakti, eventually one can turn away from this attachment, and in that way become liberated, like that. And what are the processes for liberation? Speaks about different process, austerity, penance, etc. But finally, he says that Bhakti Yoga. He speaks about Bhakti Yoga, and then he speaks from 15th shloka onwards on what is the obligation of a leader. A leader must guide and set a right example for others. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a leader, etc. With this, I would like to conclude. Please forgive me if I spoke beyond my realization. I would like to seek the blessings of all devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Haridev Krishna Prabhu, for wonderful class on the Falastuti of hearing somebody's pastime. You very beautifully summarized and also the chapter wise, the shloka wise content of this chapter. Thank you, Prabhuji. Over to our devotees, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to unmute your mic and share your questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for the wonderful class, Prabhu. How did Nityananda Prabhu disappear from this world, Prabhu?
He actually merged into the deity of Banke Rai. That is what we have heard from these scriptures.
Banke Rai is which place, Prabhu?
It is not in this one. I'm not able to recollect, Mataji, where I think it comes in Eka Chakra only. Any devotee would like to this one? Where
Yeah, it is in Eka Chakra.
Eka Chakra, no? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
The
Prabhu.
Bankirai temple. Bankirai temple. Yes.
Bankirai temple, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Yes. When shall we end, Prabhuji? This one.
There is a couple of comments, Prabhuji. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji. There are a couple of comments I would like to Prabhuji. Praise God, Krishna Gopinath Prabhu has mentioned. Thank you. My take away. Client, our office call, other, but we happily served on the he mentioned about he compared the anarthas and then he said that he get away.
Correct. I hope I seek your blessing so that I also realize this and take serious note on stopping the service.
Any other questions? Tomorrow is the auspicious appearance day of Shiva's Pandit appearance day. Tomorrow we'll have a special class on the pastimes of Shiva's Pandit. Same time, the class will be from same time, 7:15 to 8:15. But it will be the pastime of Shiva. So thank you very much once again for kindly accepting the invitation and sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we will end today's sessions with Vaishnava.
सर्वस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
Srimad Bhagavatam.
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
Thank you, devotees. We will meet again tomorrow morning at 7:15.